court that had been painted by his studio and not by his own hand, and he had to make amends. The exhibition also features these reciprocal portraits of the Duke of Edinburgh and British landscape artist Edward Seago. They were painted on board the Royal Yacht Britannia during Prince Philip's world tour in 1956 and 1957.
The Duke of Edinburgh, one of his favoured artists was Edward Seago, and he invited Seago to accompany him on a trip on HMS Britannia back from Australia in 1956, because he thought that Seago might see some amazing landscapes as they sailed past Antarctica for Seago to paint. And while they were there, evidently they painted each other.
Artists saw their status rise from the Renaissance onwards, and they increasingly acknowledged their own profession in self-portraits, perhaps showing a brush or palette.
It's a wonderful recording of your life. You know, as you say, we take selfies today or we write things down in the diary, but there's nothing to show the energy as much as when somebody paints an image of themselves, either how they really are or how they'd like to be seen.
But the self-portraits don't end there. Lucian Freud made a painting of himself while painting the Queen's portrait in 2001.
The sittings happened in the conservation studio at St James's Palace, and when you see the photograph, you see how bare the walls are and that there's a pipe running. This is not a grand palatial interior to be painting in, and it shows the reality of what it was like to sit for a portrait.
A photo might be enough to capture a moment, but the creators of these artworks show there can be much more meaning than just the image itself.
With just hours to go before United States of America elects its 45th president, one can say it's been a neck-to-neck race so far and one of the most rancorous election campaigns the country has ever seen. Putting all the seriousness to one side and showcase, we will discuss celebrities' choices and support in US elections with our editor-at-large, Craig Kopitas. Hi, thank you for being with us, Craig.
What's happening? Nice couch.
Thank you. So, first of all, if only celebrities would go to the poll, we know that Trump would stand no chance, don't you think?
Yeah, well, probably not, but it's overblown, the celebrity influence. Celebrities are there for a more important reason than getting people to vote, to raise money for the candidates.
Okay.
That's what they're there for.
So which celebs have stood out, actually, in the political campaign so far?
Well, you got Ted Nugent, who's a rock and roll star for Trump. You have Madonna, Lady Gaga, all these millennial musical stars whose names I can't pronounce and whose songs sound horrible. But no matter who they are, the way the campaigns have used all of them is to, one, attract crowds to rallies. Because if you have Madonna showing up, people are going to come. You're going to want to hear Madonna sing, right? Or Ted Nugent, or whomever. But also...
She did a concert in support of Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, or a concert, or even a rally.
Yeah.
You know, people are going to show up. It's consistently been that way over the past, what, 8, 9 election cycles. You get a rock and roll star to show up, fine. You get a Hollywood star to show up, yeah, they're not really performing, are they? But they'll have a dinner where they can charge $10,000 a plate. And if you look at the amount of money each campaign has raised this year, you'll find that Hillary has raised a lot more. She's raised, I think, in the neighborhood of 700 and some million. And much of that money has come from these dinners and gatherings where she charges people $10,000, $20,000 a plate to come and hang out with her and Madonna or Lady Gaga or whomever.
So even celebrities showed their support with doing a campaign anthem in the fight song. If you like, we could watch a part of it and then talk about it.
Okay.
Our fight song. Hey, take back my life song. We'll be all right song. My gun was turned on, starting right now. I'll be strong. I'll play my fight song. And I don't really care if nobody else believes.
So some criticized Clinton for choosing a cheesy pop tune. How successful was it in the political campaign?
don't think it's successful at all. It's a lousy song. It reminds me of David Hasselhoff singing the theme to Baywatch. This is not music. These are gimmicks. These are political gimmicks. Now, there were songs back in the old days, okay, that were great songs that were used in political campaigns. One of the most famous, and you'd have to go Google it, was called Ohio by Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young. And that song, which became a campaign song, orbited around the May 1970 death of students at Kent State University who were shot by the National Guard during an anti-Vietnam protest. And that song became a rallying cry. There's a big difference between marketing something like this and having a rallying cry. Even if you go back in American history, believe it or not, back in the early 19th century, there was James Polk and John Tyler, who ran for president. They had the first campaign song. And the candidate won a battle at a place called Tippecanoe. And the campaign song was Tippecanoe and Tyler too. That was the Madonna song of its day. No one's ever heard it, but you could Google it and listen to it. And that was the first song. So it does work, gets people to rallies.
So how much influence do you think celebrities have on the ordinary American people?
I don't think they have any. And historically, they haven't had any. The first celebrities who ever backed a candidate was for Warren Harding, and I think it was 1920. You had Douglas Fairbanks, Mary Pickford, and Al Jolson. Remember Al Jolson, the jazz singer? He was in the first talkie film. Well, they backed Warren Harding, and everyone listened. And then Warren Harding ended up having one of the worst presidencies in the history of the United States, so celebrities for nearly 40 years backed off from endorsing any candidates because it was hurting their careers.
So you don't think it's very influential at all, actually, for celebrities to endorse candidates?
Well, it gives them some jazz. Again, look, it's about the money. It's always about the money in an American campaign. You might think it's about the flash and the dash. It's about the cash. And celebrities can raise money. And that's why they're employed by the candidates.
So one last question. Susan Sarandon says she will not vote for any candidate. It would only be voting for the less evil one, and that it's not a gender election. So if Clinton wasn't a woman, do you think she would have had the same support, or the other candidate would have?
Well, if you want to vote for a woman, vote for Jill Stein, who is the candidate of the Green Party in the United States. Hillary Clinton milked her womanhood for everything she possibly could. However, and that's fine, don't get me wrong, but if you want to know a celebrity who actually helped change an election, there was one, and it might astonish you. It was Oprah Winfrey in 2008. Oprah Winfrey came out and endorsed Obama, a woman, over Hillary. And there were studies done later, metrics done by universities, and they discovered that Oprah Winfrey brought in more than 1 million votes for Obama because of her endorsement. And that is the only time in American political history that someone actually scientifically tracked your question and got an answer. All the others, your George Clooney's and Barbara Streisand's,